From my recent Book of Mormon study, I was reading Alma chapter 18, where Ammon is captured by King Lamoni. And when King Lamoni speaks to him, talks to him, Ammon explains who he is, where he has come from. King Lamoni asks him, "So what do you want?" And because he was servant of God and his work was to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, and teaching gospel of Jesus Christ usually involves serving people, loving them, being kind, being compassionate. So he wanted to, well, he didn't say he's there to teach him, but he said he's there to be a servant to him. So he wanted to serve him. He wanted to take responsibility of his temporal thing. He was willing to serve him. He was willing to work for him, not to teach him about the gospel of Jesus Christ. Well, that's his ultimate goal. He wants to do that, but he didn't say, "I'm here to teach you about God." So King Lamoni he gives him assignments. He tells him what to do, and when we study the scriptures, we see some of the Lamanites when Ammon, along with King Lamoni's servants, when they were watering their animals, flocks at the border of Sebus, these Lamanites, they scared their animals away, and they all ran off from, like, they were scattered. So Ammon, he's a man of God. He has the strength, he has a power, and he felt this is a perfect time for him to use the power of God and gather uh, those uh, those animals back, because his servants, Lamani's servants, were very scared because these animals were ran off, and they said the king will kill them just like he did with their brother in past. So Ammon gave them assurance and said, "Don't worry about that. You go take care of what we have, and I will go contend with them." So he told them to secure the animals when he goes and contend with the Lamanites. So everything happens. They come back. They rehearsed what happened with Ammon and Lamanites, and King Lamoni is kind of surprised. Okay, he believes he's a great spirit that his fathers, their fathers had spoken about. Okay, now King Lamoni is thinking about this. He's contemplating who he is and how is it possible. And then he asks, where is Ammon? And they said, "Well, Ammon is serving thy horses." Okay, he's feeding your horses, he's watering them, he's working at the stable. So this is the observation from President Henry B. Eyring, and what he said was how he has connected this spiritual service with the temporal. And to my amazement, this is what President Henry B. Eyring says. He says, when the other servants brought the evidence of what Ammon had done, King Lamoni said, "Where is he?" And they said, "Oh, he's in the stables. He is doing every little things to serve you." Okay, so he was serving the king, not preaching the gospel, but he was serving the king. He was doing those temporal act of service. Isn't that odd? He was called to teach the doctrines of salvation, but he was in the stable. Don't you think he should have been praying and fasting and polishing his teaching plan? No, he was in the stables. So, well, yes, we are here to preach the gospel, but we don't do that always by talking about God. We can talk about love, we can talk about the gospel, we can talk about the eternal Jesus Christ. If we do not show the love in reality, okay, in action. Ammon was focusing on serving the king temporally. King Lamoni had been brought up with the belief that there was a God, but that whatever the king did was right. So that was he thought that. He had been specifically taught false doctrine that might have made him impervious to feelings of guilt. Do you remember that when he heard where Ammon was, a feeling of guilt, a fear that he had done wrong in killing the servants came over him? Well, until he didn't know anything about Ammon, he was good. He thought what he did was right. There is a God, but he doesn't have to worry about that. But as soon as he learned about Ammon, he has this guilt. He is afraid of him. He's afraid of the outcome that might come because what he had done. Now, hmm, now I have always, so these are the words of President Henry Baring. Now he says, I have always focused before on how mixed up Lamoni was in his doctrine without seeing the miracle. The miracle was that spiritual need was created in a man that he might be taught the gospel of Jesus Christ. His heart was broken, he felt guilt, and it came from a temporal things that Ammon had done. Never underestimate the spiritual value of doing temporal things for those whom you serve. Be their servant and you will love them and they will feel your love, and more important, they will feel God's love. So I love this part when he said that never ever underestimate the spiritual value of doing temple things. So I think, rather than focusing more on, okay, how can I how can I preach the gospel, okay, focusing more on how to please the Lord, okay, slowly focusing on that. I think the one way we can please the Lord more easily is by serving his people with our heart, with our might, with the best of the feeling that we have. That's how we can serve the Lord. And it is important to understand that give me a second. It says, where is it? It says the miracle was that a spiritual need was created in a man that he might be taught the gospel of Jesus Christ. His heart was broken, he felt guilt, and it came from a temporal things that Ammon had done. So what Ammon did brought that feeling of guilt in King Lamoni, because now he is not thinking that he's all powerful. Now there is someone who is more powerful than him, and he knows that based on the evidence he saw. His servants taught him that it is not possible that he can be defeated by the Lamanites or even by king. So as long as he is with the king, no one can beat them. So having that knowledge, having that understanding brought him feeling of guilt and then fear.